Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 20th of March, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at currencies. Quite big moves in currencies last week off the Fed announcement. Then we look at stock markets, commodities, some US tech stocks, and last of all, we will look at the FTSE. So we start with the dollar index, and we can see here teetering along the bottom, so into bearish territory, just teetering along at this 100 level, and we do have this downside target of 99.18 as well as these other targets. So short term the dollar is bearish, but medium and long term still holding that bullishness. So we shouldn't be surprised to see a reversal in the short term picture, but at the moment, very interestingly, we're just coming below the cloud on the price for the first time in quite some time. So it'll be interesting just to see whether we hold these levels, whether we find support on the cloud. The euro, conversely, is above the cloud on the short term, looking better short term. We've got these upside targets, but again, a lot of work to do on the medium and long term charts to turn those bullish. We are above on the cloud here, so the euro is looking a bit better, but these long term targets still hang over us. So whilst we're looking bearish short term, the long-term picture still hasn't changed. And the Japanese yen we're seeing here strengthening against the dollar. Remember, this is dollar weakening. So again, we're just seeing dollar weakness as a theme over the last several days. Sterling is stronger against the dollar. Again, this is mostly down to dollar weakness, but a bit of sterling strength kicking in there. Interestingly, we're at about 124 this morning. Will we go much higher? This is the big question, and it's not showing through on the. We've got a 126 target here on the 60-minute chart, but what I can do is just go to the 1-minute chart, and if we press the T key on this chart, we get the trends and targets. We see 125.10. We do have some upside targets, no new downside targets on this time frame, but go in the bottom right-hand corner here to smaller still, 123.72, and no upside targets, and smaller to still 123.96, 123.98. So it does look like today we might just see a pullback in sterling. Taking a look at the euro sterling rate, we see here that we are above the cloud here. So looking bullish sterling against the euro, but the medium and long term chart's still not great for sterling there. Against the Swiss franc, we've recovered somewhat. We were at 122.50. We're now at 122.25, and last week we're now at 123.85. So sterling just putting in a bit of a recovery there too. Against the Aussie, the sterling hasn't really recovered that much. We see it here in the daily chart. We're just sitting at this 160 level, and we do have a lot of downside targets hanging over us here. So Aussie dollar looking stronger still. Looking at stock markets, the S&P 500 didn't manage to have a close higher on Friday. We see that here in the candle. We are just still just holding on to the bullish picture, but a bit of a flat week after the Fed announcement. We see Nasdaq also pretty flat, and the Dow also looking fairly flat, but above the cloud on all three timeframes still just. So, and then we see the Russell, which has had a pretty poor March, just starting to recover through the cloud as well. The futures are down very slightly this morning, so no real heads up on what the US is going to do there. FTSE made new record highs last week, just off a bit this morning, but we've got quite a lot of short-term upside targets here now for FTSE. And the FTSE 250 also looking pretty bullish there as well. Taking a look at the DAX, that's bullish above the cloud. And if we look at the Hang Seng, good strong rally there overnight. We're actually broke to new 2-year highs. We see that on the chart, so that's good news. And Shanghai Composite was up as well, quite strongly, up just under 0.5%. So we're bullish on the short and medium term. Long-term cloud charts still got a little bit of work to do. Sensex are bullish all round, so bullish on all three time frames. And the S&P 500, though it was down overnight, is looking bullish, and these modelled upside targets are pretty bullish for the Australian market. The Brent crude index we're seeing here, Brent crude is actually just really struggling at 51.39. You might recall, as we said on Friday, if we spend a few days below 51, that would be pretty bad. Looks like we're going back into the 40s at the moment. We've got quite a few downside targets into the high 40s, another new target to 50.01. So just a lower low than this low we saw last week would be quite bad for Brent. At WTI, much the same picture as you would expect. Nat gas just struggling in these 290s, just back below the cloud here, bearish in the medium and short-term charts. The long-term chart still remains bullish, but we've got quite a lot of volatility going on there as well. Moving straight to gold, gold holding on to its gains at 12.32 this morning. So that's looking pretty bullish. Bullish above the cloud in the short term. Back into bullish territory on the lagging line, just on the medium term, and the long term looking bullish. So gold is looking quite good, and the short term target there is 12.93 off that thrust we saw last week. So that suggests gold will make a new 2-year high, really. So we'll see actually quite a move there. Actually, it'll take us up to last summer. And if we look at the silver, we're bullish here as well. The 10-year Treasury yield just sitting at 2.49%, coming off after the Fed comments last week. Looking at Apple, bullish above the cloud still, and Amazon, Google, bullish there as well, and Amazon, all still pretty bullish. Facebook, just nudging this 140 level, looking bullish above all three clouds. Microsoft also above all three clouds, and Nvidia back in the short term, one I've been watching because I sold it. So taking a look at the FTSE 100, we start by looking at the leaders. So we've got Admiral Group up quite strongly this morning. That's bullish on all three time frames, really making quite a good recovery on the medium term chart there. We've got an upside target of 13% on that chart. Looking at AB Foods, bullish here, just moving into bullish territory on the medium term. Randgold Resources improving quite strongly on that gold price as well. Old Mutual, bullish on all three time frames. Direct Line, not so good on the short and medium and long term charts there. So although it's up, the trend is down. And just taking a look at EasyJet, just coming back into recovery mode in the medium term, but the long term chart's still quite worrying. Just looking at the laggards, we've got Hilker Pharma, that's down. Convatec, Royal Bank of Scotland, just down again this morning, down 1.2%, and Capita. So we are just seeing quite a few laggards, and that's giving us a mixed picture on the FTSE. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.